You're listening to the My Simplified Life podcast, and this is episode number 81. Welcome to the My Simplified Life podcast, a place where you will learn that your past and even your present don't define your future. Regardless of what stage of life you're in, I want you to feel inspired and encouraged to pursue your dreams, simplify your life, and start taking action today. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac, and I'm excited to share my stories and life lessons with you while taking you on my own journey. This is My Simplified Life. Hey friends, welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac. Ladies, I feel we need to have a deep heart-to-heart conversation about what's going on in our country right before our eyes. If you're a white mom, then I feel that we really need to start not only paying attention, but speaking up, speaking out, and protecting all of our children, no matter what color they are. Let's go back to 2020, when our nation and even parts of our world started paying attention to the Black Lives Matter movement. We watched the video over and over of a police officer kill a black man with his knee. I have a 6-year-old, and he looks up to every person in uniform. He feels passionately that every police officer, firefighter, and armed service person is his buddy. He saw this video and asked what the black man did to deserve being treated that way. I told him nothing. He did absolutely nothing to warrant that kind of behavior or treatment. He then asked me why one of his buddies would do such a thing if this man hadn't done something like kill or hurt another human being. Let that sit with you for a moment. My then 5-year-old was able to see right from wrong, but half of America is fumbling around and defending this type of behavior. Time and time again, we are seeing more innocent black men be killed by police officers. Plain and simple, it isn't right. Dante Wright was pulled over for having an air freshener hanging from his rearview mirror. I myself have had an ornament hanging from my rearview mirror for 20 years. 20 years, I kid you not, and I have never once been pulled over for it. If you aren't familiar with the rest of the truth behind what happened to Dante, then you should know that when they ran his name, they found an outstanding warrant for his arrest. But here's why there was one. He was caught smoking a joint as a minor. He was fined $75 plus $81 in fees. We won't even go into the fact that the fees are more than the fine today, but the notice was sent to him and it didn't even get to him. It was sent to the wrong address and was returned mail. So he didn't even know that this warrant existed. Next, we have a police chief who makes up excuses for Kim Potter using her gun instead of her taser because even as a 25-year veteran of the force, she was quote-unquote confused. Here's the thing about a gun. It's heavy. How do I know? Well, as a senior in high school, we had to take on a project and write a report on it, and it had to be something that we wouldn't normally do. My first thought was to build homes with Habitat for Humanity, but that's not out of my personality. I was already volunteering as a teen and that was within my comfort zone. So instead, I decided to learn how to shoot a gun. I spent many weekends at the range learning how to properly shoot, gun safety, how to clean a gun, and the fact that it's a last resort. You aren't going to confuse a gun from a taser, and that's a bullshit excuse. Hell, you hold both devices in front of you when you aim, so don't you think you'll notice the bright yellow versus gunmetal color? You certainly will if you're aiming properly. You don't mistake a gun from a taser, period. We have black men being killed, and then in addition to that, we have even more going on within our legal system, which includes our prisons. My interview with Louis L. Reed is one that I am going to continue bringing up because he opened my eyes to what is going on when I was clueless. Please go back and listen to episode 79 if you haven't already, because we discuss how people can not only reform themselves for the better, but the fact that mental health is a huge reason why we have so many in the prison system right now, and yet there's a huge lack of mental health help within the systems. We need change, and we need it now. In the past year, we've seen more and more people stand up for what is right, but it's still not enough. We are still seeing Black men being killed, and what angers me even beyond that is when we see attorneys and experts defending the killers in court. I know that's their job, and I know that everyone has a right to representation, but I would love to know how so many can sleep at night knowing that what they're fighting for is so damn wrong. If you're on social media or watching the news, then you are also seeing Black men and women fighting for their lives and for change. They are doing their damnedest to help educate the rest of us on something that they've been experiencing since the beginning of time. I'm finally understanding what this is all about. Are you? I want to take you back to what my childhood was like. I was born and raised in Paradise, California. No one knew where Paradise was until 2018 when the entire town burned down, including my childhood home. Paradise is predominantly white, and when I say predominantly, I'm talking like 99%. I can count on one hand how many Black people lived in that town during my 18 years there. In grade school, a new family moved to town, and they were Black. It was a husband and wife and their son, who was my brother's age. The woman was a fitness instructor, and I was all about aerobics, so I took her classes multiple times a week before school, and I even got to sub for her at times. Our families became friendly, and that was when she told us that right after moving into their home, they had crosses burned on their front lawn. I didn't understand then, and I don't understand now, why anyone could be so hateful and disgusting to another human being simply because of the color of their skin. This family continued to live in Paradise even as it burned down, and that woman escaped the fire by pushing her wheelchair down her front porch steps, getting into it, and wheeling it down a main road until a firefighter saw her and rescued her. I don't think I could say that I would have stayed in a small town that treated me so unfairly, and yet they stuck it out. Racism is a learned behavior. Look at your children and notice how as very tiny humans, they don't see color. My son only saw shirt colors for the longest time, but he never noticed that skin colors were different. He notices now. And recently, my daughter saw a Black Lives Matter sign in a neighbor's window and asked what it said, and then wanted to know what that meant. These are tough conversations to not only have, but to explain to such innocent beings why it's so important. Why do so many have such incredible hate in their hearts that they think their actions against people of another color are okay? Who told them on their path of life that this thinking was okay and that they even have a right to be so narrow-minded and downright stupid? Yes, I said stupid, and I am being really damn kind about just using the word stupid. I'll give you some of the reasons why we aren't seeing more change. We are so consumed with our own tiny bubbles of a world that we can't be bothered to speak out. We're fearful of what others might say, or heaven forbid, we lose a follower on Instagram or Twitter. Friends, I'm no longer afraid. If you're listening and don't agree with me, I am totally okay with you never listening to another episode again. I am okay if you unfollow me because this is a non-negotiable for me, and quite frankly, it should be for you too. I'm not going on some Rachel Hollis rant about being relatable, so please don't confuse what I'm saying with that hot mess of a distraction. Let's be honest. Someone with such a large following and mother of a Black daughter should be saying what I'm saying and standing up for the lives of Black men, not being so self-consumed by having a house cleaner. And we should stop being worried so much about someone like her and what she's saying, because she's not someone that we should be listening to. She's someone who needs to actually start listening. There's an article I came across on shondaland.com about how anti-racism work could kill your social circle. I'm going to tell you right now that if my current social circle no longer wanted to associate with me because I am standing up for Black lives, then that's not the circle that I want to be included in anyway. 2020 was a year in which a lot of people showed their true beliefs, and you know what I found? The unfriend, unfollow, and unlink buttons. Right is right and wrong is wrong. This isn't about politics or religion or anything else. This is about human decency and human life. Yes, we have many ignorant people who want to make Black lives matter about politics or something else, but it's these very people who need to take a long pause to listen and to educate themselves, open their eyes to what the rest of us are seeing, and recognize how unjust and unfair the murders of so many actually is. Why is it that the unarmed Black man or child is killed while the white man who has a gun and is ramming his truck into police officers simply gets away without a shot being fired? What in the actual hell is that all about? We have cops letting the white man literally get away with putting their lives in danger, escorting Nazi followers to get a taxi safely in New York, peacefully arresting a white man who has just shot and killed innocent people. But to the absolute extreme opposite, we see a man who used a counterfeit $20 bill be suffocated by the knee of a racist cop. We see a Black father get pulled over and murdered because a cop claims she couldn't tell the difference between a taser and a gun. A 13-year-old child killed by a bullet to the chest when he had both hands in the air and was complying with commands. Why? We need to ask why, and we need to make it stop now. I want us to stop with the distractions and start listening. Start holding space for the stories and experiences that are happening to our Black friends. It's time to make a conscious effort to do better, do more, stand against racism, and to teach our children to be better humans than our current generation and the generations before us. I believe that as white moms, we hold the answer to change. We have to start stepping up and saying and doing more. Our Black men and women are tired. They are tired of not only being the victims in all of this, but tired of having to speak out over and over and over and having their words fall on deaf ears. Ladies, we need to do more. We need to start carrying some of the weight. We are the mothers of these police officers that are killing Black men and boys. We are the mothers of sons and know what it's like to hear them cry out for us for help. We've been raising children, and now we need to raise a nation. We need to come together and start making a difference. I feel very strongly about this, and as I've had the honor and pleasure of representing so many Black women in the past year, I've had a tug on my heart that there's something more I need to do, an impact that is far greater than the one I currently have. Take a moment and imagine what our world would look like if every white mother in our country banded together to stand up for Black lives. What kind of an impact, change, and movement that would actually be. Is it something that we can make happen overnight? No, but I wish it were. Will it be easy? No, I assure you of that, but I know that we can do it. I've decided that in addition to my business in this show, I want to create a movement of white moms who come together for one reason: to stand up for Black lives and social justice. I've started working on ways to help us come together and to start as simply as in our own homes with our own children. I picked up the book Speak Up by Miranda on Amazon. Although this is a children's book, it's a message that is for all of us and a great starting point to create change. Speak Up encourages children to do just that, to speak up when they see someone being hurt or treated unfairly, to speak up for yourself, to speak the truth, to be an ally, to give thanks, to ask for help and to offer help, to take the path that leads to the right way instead of the one that everyone else is on. Because if we can make things better, why not let our words come out? Friends, let's make things better. Let's band together and help our Black friends and show them what being an ally really means. I promise you that I'm going to work on as many resources as I can to help you do this, and that I will continue to utilize my platform to speak out. Don't sit idly by on the sidelines hoping for change. This is your time to be not only the change, but to create the future as an ally, a parent, a human being. Join me to speak up and be what it truly means to be an ally. Send me a DM or an email, and I promise you we will work together on this. You don't need to be afraid of being alone on this journey, because I will be beside you, shouting as loudly as I can to help protect Black lives. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and start speaking up.